Deus, pequeno sou eu. O que eu tenho foi Deus que me deu. O que eu tenho foi Deus que me deu. Na roda da capoeira, grande e pequeno sou eu. Eu me chamo de Mestre Pastinha. Eu nasci pra capoeira, só deixo a capoeira quando eu morrer. Eu amo o jogo da capoeira. E não há outra coisa melhor na minha vida, no resto da minha vida, que seja a capoeira.
Capoeira is a Brazilian martial art with African and indigenous roots that combines acrobatic movements, music, and dance. Its history dates back to the colonial period in Brazil, when enslaved Africans were prohibited from practicing their traditional forms of combat and had to find ways to preserve them in secret. It was during this period that the first capoeira masters emerged, such as Mestre Bimba and Mestre Pastinha, who dedicated themselves to preserving and spreading the art of capoeira, making it more respected and accepted in Brazilian society. And since this is the first video of our channel, Capoeira Old School, there is nothing better to start off than talking about one of the greatest icons of capoeira in Brazil. Mestre Pastinha, also known as Vicente Ferreira Pastinha, was born in Salvador, Bahia, in 1889. He started practicing capoeira at a young age and became one of the greatest masters of the art, founding the first Angola capoeira school, the Casa de Capoeira, in 1941. Angola capoeira is a traditional style of Brazilian capoeira. Mestre Pastinha taught the art to many students and helped spread it throughout Brazil. He was also known for his life philosophy based on the principles of honesty, humility, and respect for elders. Mestre Pastinha is still remembered today as an iconic figure in capoeira and an important defender of the preservation of Afro-Brazilian culture. Today, capoeira is practiced all over the world and is recognized as one of the greatest Brazilian cultural expressions, thanks to the efforts of masters like Pastinha, who dedicated their lives to preserving and spreading this unique art. In this video, we will learn more about the history of one of the most revered capoeira masters, Vicente Ferreira Pastinha, also known as Mestre Pastinha. Let's start by talking about the beginning of Mestre Pastinha's life in capoeira. The story of Mestre Pastinha's encounter with Mestre Benedito is an important moment in the master's trajectory in the world of capoeira Angola. According to reports, in the mid-1930s, Mestre Pastinha was walking through the streets of Salvador when he heard the sound of a marimba playing in a house. Curious, he approached and found Mestre Benedito, another great master of capoeira Angola, who was teaching the art to a group of students. Mestre Benedito was a respected figure in the capoeira community and had a great influence in spreading the art. He noticed Mestre Pastinha's talent and passion for capoeira and invited him to join his students. For many years, Mestre Pastinha studied and trained with Mestre Benedito, learning not only the techniques of capoeira, but also the values and philosophy behind the art. The encounter with Mestre Benedito was a crucial moment in the formation of Mestre Pastinha as a master of capoeira. He learned a lot from his mentor and friend, and this inspired him to found his own school of capoeira Angola, the Casa de Capoeira, in 1941.
Hoje eu estou com 70 anos. Olha, minha vida é uma vida muito atrapalhada para eu contar. Mas tem centenas de pessoas, milhares de pessoas que me conhecem, que já me acompanharam de infância e que vem me acompanhando, poderá dizer alguma coisa. Todos eles que quiser dizer alguma coisa sobre a minha biografia, pode dizer qualquer coisa. Eu aceito tudo e qualquer. Agora, tem uma coisa, não fui bobo na roda da capoeira.
The story of the encounter between these two great masters is remembered to this day as an example of how capoeira is an art that is transmitted from person to person, from generation to generation. The Casa de Capoeira was the first school of capoeira Angola founded by Mestre Pastinha in 1941 in Salvador, Bahia. Located in the Pelourinho neighborhood, the school was a space dedicated to the practice and teaching of capoeira Angola, one of the branches of traditional capoeira, which emphasizes Afro-Brazilian culture and tradition. The Casa de Capoeira was a simple place, but full of history and tradition. It was a large wooden hall with white walls and a small stage for performances.
Na mandinga não foi bobo não, viu? Agora, para eu contar assim, eu não vou contar nada, porque se eu contar, fica uma coisa muito longa e parece que eu estou no céu. Cidade de Assunção, cidade de Assunção, capital de Itamar.
In the center of the hall, there was a pillar that served as a reference for the movements of capoeira players. Mestre Pastinha's school became an important training center for capoeiristas from all over Brazil and the world. Among the students and masters who passed through Casa de Capoeira are names like João Grande, João Pequeno, Curio, Boca Rica, Canjiquinha, and many others who became important references in Capoeira Angola. João Grande, for example, started training at Casa de Capoeira when he was still a teenager and became one of the great masters of Capoeira Angola in the United States, where he founded his own capoeira school. He fondly remembers the time he trained with Mestre Pastinha at Casa de Capoeira, saying, "We arrived early, Mestre Pastinha was there, giving class, playing the berimbau." He was a remarkable figure, a great master. João Pequeno, another renowned master of Capoeira Angola, was also a student of Mestre Pastinha at Casa de Capoeira. He remembers that Mestre Pastinha was a serious man dedicated to capoeira, but also had a great sense of humor and loved to tell stories about life and Afro-Brazilian culture. The Casa de Capoeira became an important space for the preservation of Afro-Brazilian culture and the tradition of Capoeira Angola. It inspired many other capoeira schools throughout the country and became a symbol of resistance and the struggle for the valorization of black culture in Brazil. Mestre Pastinha is a legendary figure in the history of Capoeira Angola, and his life is full of fascinating and inspiring stories. Some examples of these stories are: the fight against racial discrimination. Mestre Pastinha faced a lot of racial discrimination throughout his life, but he never let it defeat him. He used to say that capoeira was a form of resistance against oppression and injustice, and he fought for the art to be recognized as part of Afro-Brazilian culture. The friendship with Jorge Amado. Writer Jorge Amado was a great defender of capoeira and a close friend of Mestre Pastinha. He helped to spread the art in Brazil and abroad, and wrote a book called Bahia of All Saints, which contains an entire chapter on the Casa de Capoeira and the history of Mestre Pastinha. The love for music. Mestre Pastinha was a great musician and loved playing the berimbau, a traditional instrument of capoeira. He believed that music was an essential part of the art and used to say that the berimbau was the soul of capoeira. The legacy of the Casa de Capoeira. The Casa de Capoeira is still an important site in the history of capoeira and is visited by capoeiristas and tourists from around the world. The space was restored in 1999 and now houses the Capoeira Museum, which contains many artifacts and documents related to the history of the art. The philosophy of capoeira. Mestre Pastinha believed that capoeira was not only a martial art, but also a philosophy of life. He taught that capoeira was a way to develop the body and mind, promoting self-confidence, discipline, and resilience. These stories are just a few of the many that surround the life of Mestre Pastinha and show the importance and legacy he left for capoeira and Afro-Brazilian culture. Unfortunately, the last years of Mestre Pastinha's life were marked by financial difficulties and health problems. He became blind and had to sell his house to pay for medical expenses. Despite these difficulties, he continued to teach capoeira and fight for the preservation of the art. In 1981, Mestre Pastinha passed away at the age of 92. His legacy, however, lives on today through Capoeira Angola, which he helped to preserve and spread throughout the world. The Casa de Capoeira, which was his home and school for many years, continues to be a place of pilgrimage for capoeiristas and enthusiasts of Afro-Brazilian culture. After his death, the city of Salvador declared an official 3-day mourning period, and the capoeira community organized a large funeral in his honor.
Os capoeiristas faziam não era propriamente por ele, era também provocado. Porque se estava numa avaliação, em grupo, com um birimbau, não é? Na mão, eles passavam, entendia de querer tomar para quebrar, aí inflamava, não é? O íntimo do capoeirista não queria perder seu instrumento, não é? Então nós tínhamos que brigar. Um instrumento, por exemplo, como o birimbau, não é somente instrumento. Agora vou aproveitar e dizer alguma coisa. Não é somente instrumento. Muita gente tem que é o instrumento birimbau, birimbau, birimbau. Birimbau é música, é instrumento.
His teachings and philosophy continue to inspire capoeiristas around the world, who seek to keep the tradition of Capoeira Angola alive and honor the memory of one of the greatest masters the art has ever known. This was the story about Vicente Ferreira Pastinha, Mestre Pastinha, and if you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. This way you will be helping me bring more content about the fascinating history of Capoeira and its great masters. Thank you very much for watching up to this point, and until the next video.